This topic is particularly interesting to myself and my colleagues at Tiger Pistol because in the last 9 years, we've been obsessively thinking about how local social advertising can be applied to our many client use cases, which include small business resellers, agencies, and multi-location global brands. So in this new world post-pandemic, we find ourselves applying the same technology and local tactics, but with an entirely new worldview, which is pretty fascinating. So before we dive in, I'd like to give you a little bit of context on Tiger Pistol and our areas of focus. So first and foremost, you're probably wondering, what's with the name? So quick fun fact, a Tiger Pistol is a tiny 5 centimeter shrimp with one big claw and one small claw. When it snaps its big claw, it creates this sonic boom under the water that stuns its prey. So at Tiger Pistol, we'd like to think that very much like this tiny shrimp, it's our mission to give local businesses a loud voice on social. So we're an advertising automation platform that was purpose-built to publish, manage, and optimize local social ads at an extraordinary scale. Our clients are global SMB resellers, brands and agencies that support brands who are ultimately supporting a local business. We are the largest third-party publisher of social advertising for local and have run over 800,000 social campaigns to date, and of course that's growing. Our advertising platform publishes across Facebook's complete family of apps, and our product team and engineering team are dedicated to staying current with all of the Facebook best practices, especially focused on small budget local campaigns within the global market. So we remove the friction of onboarding individual locations or customers onto social at scale. We save them time in creating and managing hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of social local campaigns. And we improve their social ad performance by enabling higher local ad relevance, which in turn drives more cost-effective outcomes. Our ability to offer a high level of flexibility and adaptability that our clients really required to activate local, it's enabled us, especially in the past year, to work with them on some really innovative strategies and solutions. Would love to now dive into social advertising's new role in a post-pandemic world. So as marketers, we're currently asking ourselves some big questions. And a couple of those are, in uncertain times, how and when should we invest in social advertising? What is the role of local social advertising in an economic rebuild? And how can we create meaningful connections on social at scale? It's probably no surprise to you that social media usage has skyrocketed during this pandemic as people around the world are mandated to stay home. According to some data compiled by Oxford University over the past month, almost 4 billion people in 92 countries were in lockdown as of early April. So as stay-at-home mandates were rolled out, consumers' time online grew exponentially and remains at record highs. Actually, Facebook specifically reported a 50% increase in messaging in March. And specifically for Italy, who was hit one of the hardest, saw a 70% increase in time on social during their lockdown. So what this means for advertisers is that there's a larger addressable audience on social, ready and available for those who want to reach them. Tiger Pistol CEO Paul Elliott was interested to see if we could learn from the countries or markets that appeared to be experiencing the pandemic a few stages ahead of the US, and if there were any key learnings that we at Tiger Pistol could apply to our agency and multi-location brand clients. So what we did is we plotted the weekly growth of active COVID cases in 8 countries. So we included Italy, Spain, Germany, Australia, the UK, Canada, Brazil, and the US. And we compared the average Facebook and Instagram cost per 1,000 impressions, CPMs, with the growth of active COVID cases during that same time. And what we found was actually pretty compelling and pretty interesting. So, as the number of COVID cases grew within any given country, the Facebook CPMs plummeted. The average CPM decrease across all of those 8 countries reached its peak at about 50% decrease. So this simply showed us that social advertising is at an absolute bargain now compared to pre-COVID rate. Though just as there's an adverse correlation between active COVID case growth and CPM decreases, there's also a clear correlation tied to the slowing of active cases and the quick rebound of those same CPMs. And in some cases, that rebounding of CPMs occurred in the double digits. So as we start to see the slowdown of active cases, we should expect the market and advertisers to kind of come back online. So although these charts are a little bit difficult to see, 6 out of the 8 countries we looked at showed a major rebound of CPMs about a week or two after COVID case growth reduced by 50% or below. So the 50% growth rate of active cases appeared to be the threshold of when CPM rebounds really kind of took effect a couple weeks later. While Brazil still has yet to turn the corner, as their week over week COVID case growth remains above 50%, the US is ready, just about to see CPMs rebound if we can apply any of the learnings from the other countries that we analyzed. Although this adverse correlation between COVID case growth and CPMs is very insightful and very interesting, the true opportunity for advertisers on social is well beyond the cost effectiveness of CPMs in the current month. The real opportunity is for advertisers to acknowledge, understand, and embrace the new world we live in. The world has changed forever, and so has the role of social media and social advertising. Local communities and businesses have new and important factors that they are required to think about and address that they didn't need to think about or address before the pandemic. And then consumers also have a new priority of safety and new buying behaviors. What they did before the pandemic is not necessarily what they're doing now. So advertisers are now required to address the buts. So we're open, but so some businesses remain closed, but others have new or limited ways of doing business. Some businesses are open, but they're required to, let's say, immediately close down for a couple of days due to a traceable COVID case at their location. Hyperlocal messaging is no longer a targeting tactic for advertising. It's a necessary measure in communicating and connecting with your local community. And you can see how much the role of social has changed simply by how swiftly Facebook as a company is responding. So although last month Facebook reported an all-time high of more than 3 billion users across all of their apps, they're still feverishly evolving and escalating their product roadmap to support local businesses with new tooling to help them adapt to this new world of connecting with consumers and moving transactions online. So in the past month or so, Facebook has launched gift cards, Facebook shops to enable SMBs to transact online more easily, simple calls to action for online ordering and Instagram. What do we do when the one size fits all approach no longer fits anyone? What we can do is acknowledge and understand that the world has changed and online advertising has changed. And if you have that acknowledgement and understanding as a marketer, you will have the advantage. Marketers who simply turn back on their previous social advertising tactic, we fear will fail miserably and really not see the same results that they saw pre-pandemic. So then the question becomes, what is the winning social advertising strategy especially in times of continued uncertainty. So the winning social strategy is to engage locally and be highly flexible and adaptable. More flexible and more adaptable than you could have ever imagined as a marketer. So locality by its very nature is the primary concern during the COVID pandemic. As states and countries have different responses to the corona crisis, marketing campaigns must be flexible enough to accommodate a constantly changing environment. What this means for some of our various clients, so for large multi-location brands, this might mean some of their stores are open, some of them are closed, some do delivery, some don't. For a reseller to small businesses, this may mean shifting to business models due to local orders, which need to be communicated to customers. So this could be curbside delivery, delivery in home, reduced hours, online transactions. Small businesses, whether they're grouped into a multi-location brand or independent, it's really important that marketers allow them and give them tools to get these messages across. If the long-term winning social strategy is for marketers to engage locally and be highly flexible, then how has the messaging changed? What's the strategy with the actual message itself on social? If we think about social advertising prior to the pandemic, it was primarily used as a highly targeted direct response tactic. So the focus was targeting the right audience with dynamic creative and strong calls to action. So we have a couple examples here. Sign up for fitness classes, apply now and register to test drive a new car, get a quote on solar panels, call now to book an appointment with a hairstylist, or get directions to a local steakhouse for their lunch special. In our post-pandemic world, social advertising has changed into a pivotal communication tool. Local social ad messaging is no longer focused on simply targeting an audience with a strong call to action, but rather a tool to form a deep connection with the local community. So some of the examples of this can include offering new curbside pickup for a restaurant that was previously dine-in only, scheduling in-home services in the future to keep customers comfortable and safe. In the real estate industry, scheduling and doing virtual open house tours. A financial advisor or also a real estate agent could communicate their personal commitment to the community, and no context auto service, let's say. So the primary focus is and will continue to be for social ads to acknowledge the local ordinance, to connect with the community in these challenging times, and to keep the consumer's safety as their number one priority. And those kind of messaging tactics are really going to be the first step to then pull consumers, build trust, build credibility, and pull them through that direct response funnel. Even at Tiger Pistol, the work that we've been doing to evolve our advertising automation platform has also taken on new meaning. Originally we designed the platform to provide SMB resellers, agencies, and large brands with the flexibility and versatility they needed to scale local social ads. And now those same tools are being used to connect with local communities as things change on a weekly or even daily basis for some. Our ability to onboard hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of end locations or customers onto social ads through a very simple spreadsheet or automated sync from location data providers like Yext or Uberall is not only being used today as an onboarding tactic to get things up and running in just a couple of days, but it's now being used to edit campaigns based on constantly changing location status and information. We originally created brand campaign templates for agencies and global brands to publish and localize and personalize off of local Facebook pages in just a couple of minutes. And the goal was to allow our clients to save time and increase performance through local ad relevance. Now, those same brand campaign templates are being used to change location business statuses, change offerings, change community messaging at scale within minutes, and being used constantly based on how their location network or customer network is kind of evolving and changing. Our ability for agencies and brands to create on-the-fly location groups was originally built to allow them to localize ad creative, whether it be by product, by region, or any other variables specific to their brand guidelines. And now this custom grouping feature is also being used to efficiently move locations from one status to the next in just a couple of clicks. So we're finding, locations moving from closed to open, to curbside pickup, closed for deep cleaning for a couple of days, offering new online services or changing the hours. So our agency and brand partners are coming in and quickly shifting locations to various messaging and campaign templates and kind of distributing those sometimes on a daily basis. Now I'd like to share some real life examples of how our reseller and global brand clients are connecting with their local communities and navigating this new requirement of flexible and adaptability. Here's an example of one of Tiger Pistol's global Fortune 500 beverage brand clients. And they've activated their network of independent bars and restaurants who you could argue have been suffering the most with the stay-at-home mandates. So this brand client was previously offering their network of local bars and restaurants the option to buy in-store signage, coasters, social brand awareness campaigns. And they're now offering those same bars and restaurants the opportunity to publish ads with community building messaging for gift cards, for home delivery, no contact, curbside pickup. So here's an example of a global brand that's connecting with their retail partners, establishing connection within the community, and investing in keeping local businesses afloat through adaptive messaging and really simple social ad publishing tools. A lot of our large SMB reseller partners are currently challenged with adapting messaging for each independent small business at scale during this pandemic. If you think about it, each SMB needs to make their own decision on how they want to operate, do business during the pandemic. So implementing these customizations for each of their tens of thousands of unique customers can be really challenging. And so one of our SMB reseller clients has instead taken the approach of, they really wanted to do something very quickly. They wanted to show their support for their customers. They wanted to adapt to the times very rapidly, but they needed to do something at scale in a very low friction way. So what they decided to do was to quickly turn on the ability for customers to run social messenger ads. So this would allow their SMB customers to just communicate more directly with their prospects and their consumers. So the similar ad creative would direct that ad directly to Messenger and just allowed the end customer to kind of communicate directly and maybe make some of those changes or ask those questions or provide those updates on a more constant basis. So that was one thing that was fairly simple for us to unlock. Additionally, they went to market and offered a lower cost social ad package. And this was really to ensure that their their large customer base didn't miss out on the opportunity to connect with their local community during a time of increased usage on social. These go-to-market updates to enable the new ad objective or even creating the new social advertising package, fortunately on our side, only takes minutes. within our set it and forget it automated campaign tooling. So it allowed us to implement some of these broad ideas and high impact ideas and high visibility concepts to their customer base with just a couple of clicks on our end. And that way they were able to show their support, create some offerings that were truly meaningful, while they kind of took in those more reactive requests to make those changes as customers made those decisions. Our Fortune 500 real estate brand client has unlocked new messaging and tactics for their network of agents. So they did this by enabling campaign ad templates that were focused on virtual open house tours, community support messaging, and agent recruitment campaigns, especially in a market of very high employment rates. So these agents were able to leverage the creative and the messaging from corporate and publish local ads to their community within just a minute or two. So previously, this large real estate brand was already enabling their agents to publish best practice real estate listing and brand campaigns on their own in just a few clicks. And they were providing them originally with just some general best practices and some framework where the agent, all they needed to do was make a couple of decision points, and they already had a best practice ad ready to publish. Now they're able to use the same tooling to provide agents with more relevant best practice ads and tactics as the industry adapts to this pandemic. So those messages, really taking what the brand is able to put together in terms of really impactful community-based messaging, tools to support them in uploading virtual home tours. They were able to take those tactics and very quickly just deploy those new best practices to the tooling that was already available to those agents. Thanks so much for your time today. Lizzie, I'll pass it back to you to see if there are any questions from the group that maybe we can tackle. And just to kind of call out, if we don't get to your question or you'd like to see any more detail on the global analysis or the advertising tactics or even any of the client case study examples, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. It's listed right here, casey.zaffin@tigerpistol. I'd be more than happy to share more detailed information, share that global analysis ebook, and just answer your questions offline.
Perfect. Thank you, Casey, so much for the wonderful presentation. And we do have some time for a few of the questions. We had some that came in, so I'll go ahead and get started. The first one says, are you going to continue to update these charts? If so, where can I find them?
Yes, great question. Yes, of course we will. If you're interested in reading the ebook on the global analysis that I shared a bit of information from, you can, of course, send me a quick email and I'll share the ebook with you after this webinar. But you can also follow Tiger Pistol on social media, and we'll continue to share updates on our global analysis and the additional research and case studies that we are a part of.
The next question says, how do you execute this social advertising strategy in a decentralized brand where all in locations are independent?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at Tiger Pistol, our decentralized brand clients, that to us is a franchise organization or a brand group where they really leave it up to the individual locations or businesses to make their own marketing decisions or even have more agency on what tactics they use. So our decentralized brand clients typically create a brand campaign template, but fortunately we have technology solutions that allow that same brand to control some aspects of the campaign that really are required to adhere to just brand standards. Maybe there's only a couple of things there, and you're giving the end location the option to edit specific aspects and even pay and publish directly in a simple widget from an email. So this enables the brand to have more control where they need to, really more importantly, provide the end location with best practices and sort of these like templates, like something to go off of, giving the location the ability to make those updates on offering status, location status, and personalize before they publish.
Okay, great. And then I'll do one more question. How do you build confidence in social ads with brand advertisers who are pulling back ad spend during the pandemic?
Yes, that's a good one. At Tiger Pistol, our focus continues to be helping global agencies and brand clients activate local social ads at scale. So, you know, we're able to use our platform to publish low budget ads. In most cases, that lead to higher performance than maybe their national campaigns. With brands that have conservative budgets, if they're still able to take advantage of social advertising as long as you can localize and scale appropriately. And so if you take that larger national budget and you distribute it across very highly targeted, hyper relevant messaging and ads, you can get more cost effective budgets, lower budgets, just based off of that tactic alone. Also, if the brand can provide their end locations with a simple tooling to help them fund the campaign themselves or even supplement the spend, that's another great option for brands to manage their budget and engage their network in best practices within the pandemic, as they kind of start to really maybe pull back or kind of manage that advertising budget a little bit more closely. But more generally speaking, it's important to advise your brand clients that this is not the time to be quiet. It's definitely not the time to be silent. The focus should be on running cost-effective strategy while budgets are tight, and really building in the framework that will allow you to be flexible and invest and pull back as you see fit, probably over the next definitely calendar year and likely into next year.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much again, Casey. There were great questions and discussion, and thanks so much to Tiger Pistol for putting together the webinar for us. If your questions were not answered, someone from Tiger Pistol will reach out to you and follow up with any additional questions.